You see that in the CTD video, previous, I put an excerpt from the Nisman documentary that is on Netflix. In that documentary Cristina Kirchner speaks, that is her master class mode. TV star forensic girl performance mode. All that script is given to Cristina by the CIA, so that I found out that I would have no way out. That the only way out is Ariadne's thread. Ariadne's thread means, we are a perfect plot. No exit. Which is the thread of Ariadne, the minors. Gustavo, you only have the minors left. Gustavo laughs, that when I cannot defend myself, they accuse me with all the minors. I was never formally accused of anything, that's why we filed notifications for my relatives in federal justice. Cristina received my document letter, to force her to report me, but because they extorted money from all my cousin's children, and with all my complete life, whatever they came up with, it was always extortion. As if they didn't have a federal criminal case against them. I have the possibility of presenting 25 minors. Plus 2 older ones. One of the minor ones, that I have to present. She is the neighbor next door to my home on Parana Street, between Hortensias and Buenos Aires, Loma Hermosa, whose mother was a widow of the Buenos Aires PBA police. Her mother did the same job. Then my aunt's neighbor Rosa Pasqualini, of defaming me, of inciting my mother to work. All at the request of the Buenos Aires police so that I go out looking for work and they ruin my selections and even make me lose the same jobs. The 15-year-old daughter that I taught alone in my house and made her pass accounting. All of those are witnesses. The oldest witnesses I have are, the advertising professor woman at the University of Moron, the one with whom they tried to cheat me in an elevator and my university classmate who wanted to cheat me again, in a monitored exit, to wait for me to commit a sexual crime. With common crimes, I have to present the plot that they made with my colleagues from Elucid Argentina, in other companies, at the University of Moron and in Papel's PM. Also, according to the files in London, they followed me on the street, because it is proof that I never committed a common crime. The files they are collecting right now are discarded as illegal, inappropriate and fraud. The files I have in London will also be considered this way before the court. All the crimes that they have collected by side, about the Buenos Aires police, the Argentine federal police and individuals, if they are going to be used against them. For me, I am the witness, the victim and the complainant. Well, Aníbal Fernandez is the cleaner of Nestor Kirchner and Kirchnerism. You see in the movies, cleaners are the ones who clean homicide scenes. Aníbal Fernandez was, along with Nestor Kirchner, the ones who planned to admit me to the Pinheiro hospital. When Aníbal Ibarra was in Cava as head of government, I remember when I left the hospital, I went to INADI, which was inside the Ministry of the Interior. When Aníbal Fernandez was the Minister of the Interior and also the head of the Argentine Federal Police PFA. A lawyer from INADI helped me. I didn't know how now I am monitored 24 hours a day. And all the dirt that was thrown at us at that time. I went to consult at the University of Moron, to seek advice for the harassment and abuse that I suffered, with a plot so that I would not pass subjects and not receive me. The lawyer sat at his desk and froze. Why was he petrified? He knew through me the face of the monitored Gustavo Dario Galarza. As you can see, it seems that he was the cleaner of the association of improper funds from Cristina Kirchner's 2007 campaign with the triple crime of General Rodriguez. The improper funds of the electoral campaign was in 2007 and the triple crime occurred in August 2008. Everyone identified him as the intellectual author of the triple crime. Then there is the escape of those sentenced to life for the triple murder, days after the change of national and provincial government. It's a good play by Aníbal Fernandez. I am the gangster who manages the Buenos Aires prison service that enables the release of the inmates. The two brothers Lanata and Victor Chilichi, they escaped at the end of December 2015 and were caught on January 10, 2016, after 15 days of chase. Good play, Aníbal Fernandez. Later he was the spokesperson for the Nisman case. As everyone knows, it was an area liberated by the guards of the dead prosecutor. All the federal police PFA custodians who took care of Nisman. Of course the friends of Capuchetti's father, and of Servini de Cubria. They liberated the entire Nisman area and he appeared dead. As the latest report that includes the gendarmerie investigation says, they would have drugged him with ketamine, dragged him to the bathroom and killed Nisman, kneeling in front of the bathroom mirror. You see that I am recounting the priest's campaign against Gustavo. 14 years old, they had enough time to plan a campaign. With Nisman they also did the entire press campaign. Do you think that Nestor Kirchner is going to create the AMIA prosecutor's office and is not going to investigate and persecute him? Where did an account appear? In New York. Right, the satellite knows who murdered Nisman. The satellite follows me, it follows its partner Cristina Kirchner. Nisman was one of the people who sent messages to Gustavo. Obviously, it's easy to set up an account for anyone anywhere. Are you who believe? Obviously, very good work by the cleaner, Aníbal Fernandez. Horace's last job was as Minister of Security for Alberto Fernandez. As of September 2021, as I say, the man was saying that I and Alberto are the good ones. Cristina, Kisselov and Bernie are the bad guys. Now Macri, Milei and Bullrich say the same thing. Kisselov and the PBA are the bad guys. The good ones are us, the pretty boys of the PRO. But I already uncovered all the dirt on the pretty pro boys. That they are together with Milei to cover up their boss Mauricio Macri. The one with the brand new photo, with Pope Francis, ditto Elon Musk. Gustavo, you are a genius. Now we are going to talk about Servini de Cubria. Servini de Cubria is currently 86 or 87 years old. I think she is bigger than Myrta Legrand, and she is tougher. Of course, if you put it in your mouth, you'll break your teeth. President Menem proposed her in 1990 to Servini de Cubria as a criminal investigation judge in Federal Court No. 1 and as an electoral judge. In 1974, she had her first job as an official lawyer. Her first task was to defend former President Estela Martínez de Perón because when she was arrested by the coup d'état of the civil-military dictatorship, criminal charges were imposed on her. Later as a judge in the 70s, she was in charge of a juvenile court, where Servini was responsible for returning minors kidnapped by the dictatorship to their real parents. Servini had to act in the case of Amira Yoma and the famous Yoma Gate. As President Menem proposed it before the Senate in 1990, everyone said that he had preferences for covering up the drug trafficking case that involved the president's sister-in-law and hearings secretary, Amira Yoma, where the Spanish judge Baltasar Garzón, the country where the case began, made a request to Argentina to extradite Amira Yoma. Sources say that Judge Servini acted by shelving the file. Because of that, the Chronicles and because I also remember the fact, the Tato Bores program did a humorous sketch for Servini de Cubria. The Friday before the broadcast of Tato's program, Judge Servini filed an appeal for protection in the court of Alicia Barbagallo, which rejected the request. The judge appealed to Room 2 of the Federal Civil and Commercial Appeals Chamber of the CAVA. Chamber 2 forced the Tato Bores program to suspend any image and mention of Judge Servini de Cubria. The pretty boys from Channel 13 from the group Clarin made the circus that was previously censored. I explained to all those fools who went to sing on the program, with the song, the Judge Baru Budu Budia, surely there was the fool Maria Laura Santillan, there was Mariano Grondona, there was Magdalena Ruiz Guiñazú, there was Ricardo Darin, Soda Stereo, Susana Jimenez. It was never prior censorship. Why did Tato's program not appeal the decision of Chamber 2 of the Court of Appeals? If one does not appeal a decision it means that one agrees. They sold smoke, as Clarin almost always does. It seems that it was arranged, they knew that the judge was going to complain and they agreed not to appeal, but they billed the show. You see that Clarin always wants to look good with its clients and audiences by selling itself as cultured, democratic and progressive. Which is pure lies. It was not prior censorship, now we all remember the Judge Baru Budu Budia circus. From Argentine celebrities and some journalists who are representatives of democracy. Of the democracy of money, are the representatives. Just like Clarin, about money. Just like the CIA, about money. Just like Macri, just like Cristina, just like Moyano, just like Milei. Judge Servini de Cubria, as she has electoral jurisdiction, was the one who, through an audit, discovered illegalities with the funds of Cristina's electoral campaign for the presidency. Yet these spurious funds were connected to ephedrine trafficking, because 35% of the total money they received for the Cristina and Cobos 2007 campaign, they came from drugstores and pharmaceutical companies. The judge begins to investigate and refers the case to Judge Oyarbid, which then ends up in Judge Ariel Lijo. Judge Lijo tells how the maneuver was. The contributors gave checks and completed them with cash that was not accredited in any official entity, illegal money. They laundered cash. Judge Lijo said it is very difficult to prove that it came from trafficking ephedrine. What did prove that it was money well above the financial possibilities of these drugstores and pharmaceutical companies? Thus, it is discovered that Forza put 200,000 pesos in cash for the Cristina Cobos 2007 campaign through a check. Forza was one of those murdered in the triple crime. The triple crime was in August 2008, and as I tell you, they treated it as if it were a common murder. When it came from ephedrine drug trafficking. which was a federal crime, but it is assumed that everyone knew that politics was involved. They referred all investigations to the provincial courts of Mercedes. That later, in the second part where the murderers had already been convicted. They finished the file in the Servini de Cubria court, where Ibar Perez Karate was being investigated as the alleged intellectual author of the triple crime. It is suspected that it was all a maneuver to cover up the true intellectual author of the triple crime. To all the politicians, including Aníbal Fernández, Nestor and Cristina Kirchner's cleaner. He cleaned Nisman, he cleaned the triple crime, and he cleaned Martin and Christian Lanata and Victor Schillaci. Martin Lanata declares that Aníbal Fernández was the one who facilitated the escape from the prison. What nice anecdote can we quote from Servini de Cubria? That she, for filing 2 complaints about her in court number 1, summoned me twice, through the PFA delegation. The second time Servini mentioned me, which was in October 2014, on October 8, 2008. That time she kept me at Comodoro PY until after 2 p.m. But after 2 p.m. there is no public in Comodoro PY. I was sitting in a chair being attended to, in the hall on the 3rd floor. When 2 gendarmes come, they approach me and, looking towards the port, threaten me with their gun at their side. To go to the port. Obviously it's like the threats I receive now. Do you see the bullets arriving? I hear rocks, cumbia, criminals saying nonsense, the TV saying nonsense, advertisements saying nonsense. Why would I go to the port? To satisfy Cristina Kirchner's 2 shitty gendarmes. Because. For nothing, and if not, how can I ensure that all these criminals go to prison? But all of you are going to have to go to prison. So, I finished today's chapter. It's going to be wonderful for my whole family, for them to find out that Miley is dead, Macri is dead, that Ridondo is dead, that Vidal is dead, that Capuchetti is dead, that Servini de Cubria is dead, Aníbal Fernández is dead, Cristina is dead. Kisilov is dead, and Clarin and all your cute kids on Argentine TV are dead. That show the Lujan Basilica with Duhalde, Alberto Fernandez, who 2 by 3 are going to pray. Of course, they're going to pray that they're all going to disappear together. Menem named Servini de Cubria, and as Jorge Fontevecchia said, she is a friend of Duhalde. But she favored her sister-in-law. So it's all revealed. I are satisfied, happy and content. In 2014, Judge Servini de Cubria began investigating crimes against humanity in Spain that occurred during the Franco era, due to a complaint that he received on April 14, 2010. What covers the period from July 17, 1936 to June 15, 1977. After the first case of crimes against humanity during the Franco regime, complaints began to be received at the Argentine consulate in Spain. In these cases, international law applies, which includes universal law. Of the universality of crimes against humanity, crimes that were never investigated. It is important to mention this about Servini de Cubria, because you see in my CTD videos, Gustavo shows the resolution of file 6917/2014 and the same complaint that was filed in court number 1, with the request for protection and habeas data that forms the same file, with the resolution of Judge Servini de Cubria and Prosecutor Rivello. They are recognizing Amparo's request and habeas data, which was done in a timely manner. That neither the complaint nor the amparo and habeas data were granted. That was, and is criminal proof of the state plot from the judicial power, especially from Judge Servini de Cubria and Prosecutor Rivello. Like the plan we are telling, from Nestor, which was followed by Cristina Kirchner and continued by Cuneo Liberona and Sandra Petrovello. So that proves, the amparo and the denial of the complaint with the amparo and habeas data. They were to facilitate Cristina Kirchner's hospitalization in July 2015 with Cristina's plan, and with a corrupt and incompetent provincial judge. But the false accusations of my neighbor Alcides used force to deprive me of my freedom and kidnap me. They forced me to spend 2 months in the Carrillo hospital without me approving the treatment. That proves that Argentina lost criminal jurisdiction. In my case, for denial of justice and conspiracy. Furthermore, in the case of the Franco regime with Servini de Cubria, as in the case of the former military man Adolfo Cicelingo, who was convicted in Spain for committing crimes against humanity. 1,200 years in prison. I could take the Argentine criminals against Gustavo Galarza to France or any jurisdiction in the world. For example, Kim Kardashian, who went to Milan to commit crimes against Gustavo. Gustavo can calmly take Kim Kardashian to France. Let her case be dealt with in the French criminal courts.